Good morning. I would like to call the meeting of Building and Grounds meeting this morning. First, we need to have a vote to have Mr. Hunter join us on Zoom. And I would entertain a motion and second with Ken. I said it right. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Mr. Hunter.
Thank you.
Okay, gonna call roll call right now.
Ms. Parker,
Here.
Mr. Hunter,
Present.
Mr. Hess,
Present.
Mr. Tholen, Mr. Seroy, Mr. Dennell, Mr. Smith,
Present.
Ms. Armour Earps, Mr. Ashcraft,
Present.
Ms. Monday, Mr. Scanlon,
Present.
Mr. Wheeler,
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first on the agenda, public comment. I don't have anything written in front of me. Any public comment? Any public comments? Since we have none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from December 15th. You received those by email, and if you had a chance to look them over, entertain a motion to accept as presented. Mr. Hess, and do I have a second? Mr. Smith. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, carried. Okay, now we have our buildings report by Director Andrews.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with the first item on the agenda is the facility report for the month of December. We had 180 work orders in the system, pretty typical. Next item is the financial report, which you have in front of you there. Being so early in the year, not a whole lot to see. Currently at 49,975 versus 81,043 at this point last year. So don't expect that to continue, but always nice to see where we're running behind and where we were at this time previous year. So any questions on the financial report?
Number 3, I'm sorry, you need the mic on.
I'm sorry.
Turn on number 3 for Wes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wes.
Got me?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, like I said, the financial report, pretty straightforward. Being so early in the year, not a whole lot to see there, but if there's any questions on that, I'm happy to take them. All right, if not, moving on to the building report, we'll start here at 189. Been doing some work. I met with Jim Rowe and company several weeks ago. He's going to be taking over the old VAC, which is building immediately north of here on Schuyler. We had some work to do. That building had some leaks that had to be addressed. Long story short, we were able to get the tuck pointing that needed to be done, some minor roof repair that needed to be done, and it came in just right around $10,000 to get all of that completed. So not a bad price in my estimation, and now that Jim will be able to utilize that building, it should be a good thing for both the county and Mr. Rowe's office. So that is complete, or not complete. The roof repair is scheduled. The tuck pointing is done, so the roof repair should be done here within a couple weeks. The new mail machine we have here at 189 that is installed. We've had some headaches that we continue to work through. I've talked to several of the department heads just to check in to make sure things are okay. There's no complaints from any of the department heads. We just have some issues to take care of relative to the reports on the system that the mail machine generates. Most of that is concerned with the auditor's office, and I've been working with Marcia in there to get the proper reports built. So I'll touch base with her today and see how that's coming. So yeah, we're working through it. It's installed. We had a lot of issues. When they sell you the product, they tell you that it's going to be just like the old one, and it's going to be seamless, and this, that, and the other, and not really the case. We did have some headaches that we had to work through. I did have a new hire that actually started today, I'm happy to report, to replace a retiree that is coming soon, within the next few weeks. So we got him hired. He started today. He's been working for the last over, I think, almost 2 years, just over a year in between two, as a plumbing apprentice. So really happy to get him on board. He's going to be stationed out at Jerome Combs, working out there. So really excited. I think he's going to be a good fit. And his first day on the job was today. So by next month, I'll be able to report back to see how that's going. If you've noticed on the we began the granite work. This goes back several years, actually, before I even started. We had a car hit the this side of the building over here, the east side, and one thing led to another. It was hard to get the granite. Kind of fell to the back burner with a lot of the other projects that we had going, but we did start that work on the granite replacement. So if you haven't noticed, there's a piece on this side that's currently missing that they're going to reinstall, and then there's a piece on the front of the building as well. So happy to report that that's finally underway. At the courthouse, we do need a new floor scrubber. The automatic floor scrubber that we have there that comes in handy really in the wintertime when there's a lot of salt on the floors. We get it serviced annually, and the last time they had come out a couple months ago, they had said that the unit it can't be repaired anymore. It's an older unit. So I'm currently getting some prices on a new floor scrubber for the courthouse. They look to run around $10,000, but again, I'm starting to get some numbers together on that and can report back on that next month. The basement work obviously is top of mind for me. Really coming together. We just had a meeting yesterday with the contractor in the basement there at the courthouse. The plumbing is all roughed in. All the trenches that had to be dug are filled in. The concrete is laid. I'd say about 80% of the drywall is done, and they continue to move forward on finalizing some of the overhead plumbing in the ceiling, some of the roof drains that needed to be rerouted, and what else? Look at my notes here. Cabling's been run. That's the other thing. A lot of the data cabling is being run. A lot of the electrical is being finished up, the rough end for the electrical. Long story short, we should be substantially completed by March. As we talked about, I believe at last month's committee, though, we do have lead times impacting the project relative to doors. We had a new door. The vendor that bid the doors, we can't get the doors until May. And we thought about switching to a different vendor to get them sooner, but the price was going to be over $15,000 to switch vendors. So we made the decision to stick with the current vendor given the reduction in price. So we expect the project to be punched out around the 1st of June. So that's all the punch list items taken care of, turned over to us, finished by the 1st of June. It'll be substantially completed though in March, just without doors. So that's the update on the basement project. Now I am working on, in addition to the project, we need to get furniture in the basement for 2 areas. One is Sandy's area that she's taken in the northeast corner of the building, 14 workstations. So I'm working on that, and then we also need seating for jury assembly. So all the new seating that's going to go in there, I've talked to Chairman Wheeler, I've talked to Chief Judge Cunnington about what type of seating we want. It's the consensus is kind of some row seating similar to what you might see in an airport, with charging capabilities in the seats. Again, but we don't know the price of this, so when we get our bids, we'll see what it looks like, and we'll see how much we want it, but at this point that's the game plan moving forward. Meeting with Delta Controls over there tomorrow. So Delta Controls manages the HVAC system at the courthouse. With the addition of the new furnaces in the basement, we need to get that switched over to Delta Controls. Right now, or historically, it had always been on Precision Controls. So I've got 2 different companies that we work with on our control systems. So in the basement at the courthouse, floors 1, 2, and 3 were serviced by Delta Controls, and then the basement portion was serviced by Precision Controls. So now if I wanted to check the stats of the system, I would have to log into 2 different programs to figure that out. So with this opportunity, I've made the decision that we're going to go ahead and get everything over to Delta Controls. That way I have the whole building on one system. Makes a whole lot more sense. So I'll meet them over there actually tomorrow to tour the project, but there'll certainly be some added expense in changing the program to accept the new units in the basement, as well as the field work that'll have to be done by Delta Controls. So that's something, again, that I'm working on. We did lose another tree in the I guess the ice storm, the cold snap that we had with the wind. We lost another tree, got that removed the next day, so happy to report on that. annex and old jail. The annex chiller work continues, much like Delta controls at the courthouse with the basement. The new chiller at the annex is going to have to be hooked up to the Precision control system. So I actually meet at 1 o'clock today with the representative from Precision to get the new chiller online with the software that we use to regulate the temperature in the building. So that'll be happening later today, and there'll be certainly some added expense to get that done. Other than that, at the old jail, a lot of the same stuff that we talk about every meeting, leaky faucets, leaky showers. It's basically, pretty much the same stuff. Nothing really new to report at the old jail. Out at Jerome Combs, we've been very busy. The public safety server room that we've talked about, we ordered 2 new units, cooling units for the server room. While we had ordered them, the lead time, we had a company come out and service them, and we'd hoped that the service would get us to the point where we're ready to install the new ones. Well, it actually fell a couple days short, and New Year's Eve we had another issue with the server room. And like I told you before, that's the server room where a lot of the law enforcement utilize the information that's coming from that room, and when it goes down, that obviously creates a pretty large headache. So we were dealing with that New Year's Eve late. I want to say it was probably 1 or 2 in the morning. We were dealing with that particular issue. So I'm happy to report that was New Year's Eve. I want to say by the 3rd or the 4th, we had the new units installed. So I can rest easier at night knowing that we've got 2 new units in there, and we won't be dealing with any more headaches with regards to that server room. Knock on wood. Let's see, UPS battery upgrades, we've talked about those. That's ongoing. The dishwasher quote, I've got a representative from Hobart coming out next week. We're going to tour the kitchen. We're going to look at the existing dishwashing system that is obviously new to the building that we've had, again, nothing but issues with. And then just the other day, the garbage disposal went out again. So, I mean, the garbage disposals are not like your disposal you would buy at home. They are $5,000-$6,000 a piece, and they get used heavily. And we had, I want to say the one I just put in only lasted a couple years, and I gather it's not necessarily a mechanical issue, more so a user issue, if you know what I mean. So it's unfortunate, people that are using it, they don't treat it as if it's their own because it's not theirs, and we have issues like this. Since I've been here, I think we had to replace one at the old jail, and then this will be, I think, our second that we've had to replace out at Jerome Combs. So unfortunate, but that's something that they have to have the garbage disposal, obviously, to operate the dishwashing equipment. The hot water storage tanks, I'm still working on that with our vendor. Nothing new to report there. The building is operating as it should without those 2 units. We'll get those replaced in short order. The morgue cooler, I've been working with Coroner Gessner on his cooler. Again, it's 18-year-old cooler. We've had a variety of issues with refrigerant leaks on the system. So we're getting some quotes. I have 1 quote already. We're getting another quote here today to see what we need to do to get that system running as it should. Basically, it loses refrigerant, and they've tried to trace it down so many times they can't find where it's leaking, and it's gotten to the point where they just recommend replacement of the unit. So I've got 1 quote. I'm working on the other one. I can report back on that when I get the second quote. And then also for Coroner Gessner, we've been talking about his hot water heater. Again, if you know anything about hot water heaters, they don't last. I mean, if you get 20 years out of a water heater, you're doing pretty good. He's nearing 20 years on his water heater. He's been running low on hot water. So if he has multiple autopsies that stack up one after the next, he has run into some issues with hot water. So we'd been talking about, actually we just did the other day, about possibly putting in a tankless unit, so that'd probably make a little more sense for his application. So that's all I got as far as the building update. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Are there any questions?
Just a comment, Madam Chair.
Yes. Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, I really enjoy the comprehensive report that you provide in terms of specificity, because having worked in other governmental units, we get surprises, and you give us an accurate update in terms of what's going on, and I keep using the word specificity, and I really do appreciate the way you convey the information, what needs to be done, the various options and so forth, and I appreciate it, and I just want to share that with you.
Well, thank you very much. I don't like spending money, and when I do, I want to make sure I get you guys as much information as possible. So.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Andrews?
That's it.
Is that it? Okay. Do we have any old business at all? No old business? Okay, any new business? Anything that we'd like to bring forward? No new business? Okay, other business? Anyone? No?
All right, short and sweet.
Okay. Mr. Hess? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I don't think anyone will oppose, but I'll ask anyway. Okay,